coming from Matthew chapter 27. And if I could use for a text today, it would be called Easter Oscars. Easter Oscars. Our backdrop and my attire is to go along with the message that we are going to incorporate on today, but it's entitled Easter Oscars. And every year, millions they tune in for the Oscars. They watch the Oscars. And for those of you who are not familiar with the Oscars it is a program that recognizes, it's a recognition of excellence in the film and the movie industry. An award is given to a specific individual in the named category and role that they played. The award is very prestigious and it highlights the role that was played as well as the person who played the role, the actor. This year was no different. Millions of people watched the Oscars this year, and I might add, it is one that will never ever be forgotten. And it may not be for the reason that we had thought or even hoped that it would be remembered, but for whatever reason it was, it's going to be remembered. And out of this year's Oscars came a conversation about what to do, what not to do, how to handle certain situations, and also how not to handle certain situations. And the conversations, they go unended. And I applaud the fact that as we watched what unfolded through this year's Oscars, we got to see different characters and different roles that was actually played. And through that, come on, we got to see some characters and some roles that we would consider playing. And then we also got to see some roles that we don't want to play. We got to choose and we got to see if we wanted to have the role of the angry violent aggressor, or did we want to be the one that was humble, meek, and mild, and who refrained themselves from using a power that they could have used to defend and to uphold their character and their honor. So we got to see a course of two different characters on display at this year's Oscars, and we got to see which character we wanted to play, and because we are in church, but if you would like to, I wonder what role would some of you have played. Come on here. What role would some of you have played? And in that, a conversation came up about how to handle certain situations, how not to handle certain situations, what we should do versus what we shouldn't do. And the conversations kept going on and on and on and on and on. And in that, I'm sure, come on here, let's get a virtual hand wave for those of you who sat back and thought about what role you would have played and what you all would have did. Come on. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that. And we sat back and we thought about what we would have did and how we would have handled it. And some of us would have handled it much different. It's amazing at which role we would have played in that particular situation. We saw a lot that could have happened. We saw a lot that might have happened. And then again, we just sat back and we pictured ourselves. I know I did. And, within, my household, we had conversations about what we would have did and what we wouldn't have done and how we could have handled it and how it could have been handled better, or how it could have been handled much worse. And today, for the sake of time and for the application of the message that we want to bring, I want to serve as your awards presenter on today. And for the sake of delivery and application effectiveness, I will oftentimes reference to our text as it is in a movie scene and the characters that played it. So just for the effectiveness of the message delivery, I want to relate to our text today in Matthew 27 as if it is a movie scene. So for those of you who can stretch your imagination a little bit, and it's not to demean or to demise or to downgrade what Christ actually did for us, and you will begin to see that as we go further into the message. But in Matthew 27, we are seeing that this is when Jesus has been crucified. And I want to point out some key roles that some people and some things happen. I want to point that out for you on today. And I want to start with our first character as the presenter of the awards ceremony that we are going to have today. I want to point out, and before we get to presenting the awards, I want to point out some characters that played and starred in the crucifixion. And the first one that we have is Judas. And Judas was one that walked with Jesus, and he was one of Jesus's disciples, and he had been with Jesus not only in public, but he had been with Jesus in private. Come on here. And he had seen Jesus perform many wonders. He has seen Jesus perform signs, miracles, wonders, and he's seen Jesus feed the multitude. Come on. Is there anybody that at one time they walked with you, but they're no longer walking with you? And Judas, what Judas had did was Judas had saw all of the wonderful things that Jesus had did. And again, he was with Jesus. And when the lights were on, and when the crowd was cheering, and when the crowds were amazed at what Jesus had done, Judas was right there with Jesus. But nevertheless, and most of us know the story of Judas. Judas was the one that betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver in the crucifixion. Come on here. Is there anybody that's ever been hurt by somebody that's walked close with you? Come on. And you wondered, how could they do this after everything that y'all have been through? Come on, after everything that you just thought they was gonna be your thick and thin. You thought they was gonna be your ride or die, but nevertheless, you saw them turn and you saw them trade you in for something that was not even as much of value as your relationship with them. Come on here. Has anybody ever had that to happen? And that's what Jesus endured through the character of Judas. And Judas betrayed. I want you to understand what we're getting ready to say in this, because Judas, he was with Jesus not only in private, not only in public, but he was also with Jesus in private. So he saw those moments. He saw the behind the scene things. He saw how he heard it. He saw how sometimes he was crying and just sad and down about what was actually going on. But nevertheless, Judas betrayed Jesus in private. Come on here. He didn't come out and you know how we do on today, and he didn't get on Twitter, and he didn't get on all of these other social media platforms. But what he did was he went off and he closed the door, and he got with some people who he knew was not for Jesus' best interest. And out of that, he betrayed Jesus. And I want you to understand, and the point that I want to bring out in this is sometimes it's not the things that you do in public that will lead to your destruction. Come on here. Sometimes it's the private things that you do that will lead to your destruction. Come on here. Is there anybody that can get a witness, that I can get a witness on that? It's not the things that you do in public that will lead to your destruction. Because watch this, on the front end of things, it looks like Judas is really with Jesus. Come on here. From the look of it, from the appearance of it, come on. It looks like they're all together and they're one big happy family. But it's behind the scenes, the things that really go on that can't nobody see, that nobody has any clue about what's going on. Come on here. And it was behind the scenes. It was the behind the scene things that led to Judas's destruction. And the point that we want to make out of that is, come on here, your private life matters just as much as your public life. Come on. Your private life matters just as much as your public life. Be careful what you do in private, because it matters just as much as what you do in public, if not more. Because what happens is in private, we get comfortable. Come on. Most of everything that has happened to us that has caused us the most pain, come on here, it was not the things that we did when the lights were on us. Come on. It's the things that we did when didn't nobody see. the things we thought nobody didn't know about. And I'm trying to compose myself because my in-person audience is giving me some unspoken amens. So I'm really trying to focus on you guys and not what I see around me because of my in-person audience. But nevertheless, it was the private things that really led to Judas's destruction. Be careful of the things that you have in private. And as we all know, because everything that hides in the dark, come on, it's got to come to the light at some point. So it's not the matter. It's not if it's going to come out. But the bigger question is, how does it come out? Come on. I need for somebody to understand that it's not the question of if it's going to come out. The bigger issue is when it comes out. How is it going to come out? And everything that Judas did in private, come on here, it came out to his public death and humiliation. Be careful what we do in private. Next we have, starring in the crucifixion, next we have the religious leaders. They were fearful of Jesus's impact. They played the role of conspiracies. They were authoritative power abusers. Does anybody know anybody like that? They have power, but they abuse it. They were embezzlers. They were money launderers. They were defamers. I don't know. Can y'all just imagine, having somebody in, and I'm sure we're not able really to relate to that. I'm being sarcastic, but have you ever known somebody that's in power, but yet they abuse that power? And what these people did was, the religious leaders, they trumped up false charges. One of the worstest things to do, or one of the worstest positions is to be in, is to be up under somebody's power and influence when they have bad intentions. Come on. That's one of the worstest places to be in. Is to be up under somebody's power and influence, and they have bad intentions. And what these religious leaders did, Jesus came with a message, and what he did was he started preaching a message that started messing with their money. Come on here. It's a dangerous thing to mess with somebody's money. And they trumped up false charges against Jesus. And they knew that they had to come up with such a big lie in order to get Jesus' death sentence pronounced on him. So they started lying. Come on here. I know y'all don't know nothing about that. When people lie on you, just to get what they want. Come on here. What they said about you ain't true. But because they had something in mind that they wanted, they trumped up some charges against you. They made some false accusations against you. And if that has ever happened to you, you are in good company. Come on here. You are in good company. And next we have, starring in the role of the crucifixion, we have a man, a leader. His name is Pilate. Now Pilate's role, he's a populace. He's willfully ignorant. Pilate is the governor who has the power to pardon someone or to either pronounce a death sentence on them. So the ability to call right and wrong was in his control. Come on. And Pilate had a wife, and his wife told him, said, look, this Jesus man that they're bringing before you, you don't want to have nothing to do with what's about to happen. Make sure your hands are clean. And keep in mind now, Pilate is playing the role as a populace. Not only is he a populace, but he's a utilitarian. He exercises judgment based off the majority. of what the people say rather than the justice that the person is due. So it would be fair to say that Pilate is a crowd pleaser. Come on, he went along with the crowd. He went along with the crowd. You know, a lot like what we have going on today, sad to say. They're not really, making rules and laws based upon necessarily what's best for the people, but they're going more so for what's popular. And I'm sure somewhere in Pilate's mind, he said, if I don't do this, if I don't issue this sentence, if I don't let this happen, they not going to put me back in office. Does that sound familiar? And the point we want to make out of the character of Pilate is, come on, I need for somebody to know that the voice of the crowd, and I'm going to ask LaShawn to type this, the voice of the crowd is not always the voice of God. Come on. Can I just get a virtual hand wave right there? The things that people want you to do, the things that people expect of you, does not all the time necessarily mean that is the voice of God. Have you ever been influenced by the crowd? What they said you should be doing. But by now you should be here. By now you should be there. You should have this and you should have that. Only, watch this, to usher you out of the presence, the protection, and the provision of God. Is there anybody that's ever been influenced by the crowd? And you gain popularity with the crowd, but it diminished your place in God. I just want to serve notice on somebody that whenever you go after the crowd, it will always diminish your role and your place with God. It will always cause you to be out of place with God. Whenever you follow the crowd, the things that they think you should be doing. And oftentimes what happens is we're internally battling. Come on, is there anybody that's internally battling? They said versus what he said. And oftentimes what happens is the voice, come on here, that's what tricks and that's what navigates some of us out of the place that God is calling us to be. Because sometimes if we're not careful, we will think the louder the voice is, the more we're supposed to succumb to it. The voice gets louder and louder and louder. Is there anybody that's been led out because the voice got louder? And the crowd yelled. And that's what Pilate heard. He heard their yelling and it got louder, 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 louder. And he started to battle within himself the right versus the wrong, because God does not come to him. And watch this, his wife came to him as a spokesman or a spokeswoman of Christ. She came to him in a soft, still, humble voice. And she said, baby, have nothing to do with this man. Jesus is innocent. Don't listen to what the people are saying. Don't listen to what the people are saying. Come on here. Is there anybody that's made up in their mind? I'm not going to listen to what they say. I hear the voices. I hear the voices. And they get louder sometimes. Come on here. Is there anybody that the more you put up resistance, the voices get louder? They get louder. And they get louder. Do it. No, I ain't going to do it. Do it. No, I ain't going to do it. Do it. And the voice gets loud. 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 Till you finally succumb to it. Next we have the crowd, starring in the role of the crucifixion. Now the thing about the crowd is easily influenced. And oftentimes, one of the dangers of going with the voice of the crowd. Come on here. I don't know, but I feel like the people up under the sound of my voice have experienced this. One of the dangers of going along with the crowd, it is the fact that it's like playing football and you're not really for sure at which team you really own. So oftentimes what will happen is you will look at the score. Come on here. Is there anybody that you don't really have? Let's just say your Dallas Cowboys are not playing LaShawn. This is a perfect example because a couple of weeks ago, there was a team, and I'm going to ask her to type it in the message box for me. There was a team. And for those of you who don't know, LaShawn's favorite team is in basketball or any sport that's NCAA is the Duke Blue Devils. If you ever look on LaShawn's social media, that's all you will see her attire is. And I can't remember, but there was a team that actually beat her Duke Blue Devils. LaShawn, can you type that team for me? I can see you. But there was a team that, and y'all can see her emojis because she's so committed to Duke. But there was a team, she doesn't remember, but there was a team that knocked Duke. And if I'm not mistaken, oh, there it goes. It was the UNC Tar Heels that knocked the Duke Blue Devils out of the playoff. So we were in the Final Four, and it was North Carolina versus Duke, and Duke lost to North Carolina. And I'm texting with her in the course of this game, and I need for y'all to follow me on this. And next, it became UNC and who was the other finalist in the championship? Was it Kentucky, LaShawn? But was it Kansas? Kansas. I knew it was a K. So it was Kansas, and it was the UNC Tar Heels. Come on here. I'm talking about the dangers of being in the crowd. Because the crowd is easily influenced. But what happened was, watch this. Because neither one of her teams were in, and because that UNC had put her Duke Blue Devils out, I'm sure you can only imagine which team she was going for. LaShawn was swaying to the side of Kansas because she wanted, watch this, she wanted the Tar Heels to feel what she felt that night. So she wasn't on either team, but she could go either way because she is actually a resident of North Carolina. So if they won, good, fine. I just have to deal with my Facebook haters the next day. But she said I can go either way because I'm going to get satisfaction either way. And this is basically what the crowd was like. The crowd says I can go either way depending on what's in my best interest. They're easily influenced. They are ignorers of the truth. They're comfortable with choosing the lust of their flesh over the life of their soul. I want to make this point before we go into the awards. Because the point I want to make about this is that sometimes your most effective service to God will not be in the crowd. Come on here. I need for somebody to just understand that. Come on here. Some of your most intimate moments was when wasn't nobody around. Come on here. Is there anybody that can relate to that? Some of my closest moments with God has been in the time when wasn't nobody around me. When I did not hear, come on here, the voice. When I did not have that external influence. And it was just me. And it was God. Your most effective service to God will most likely never be in the crowd. Come on. It will be in those intimate and private moments. And I also want to make mention right here before we go into the encore of tonight or this morning. Serving God will oftentimes means that you are separated from the crowd. Come on here. Can anybody just look in their circle and say, it's been lonely over here? I don't know why these people had to leave. I don't know why that person had to leave. And I really don't understand that. But if you can really look back at it, that's your most effective service to God. Because what nobody else there. And all you could do, sometimes with tears rolling down your face, sometimes not understanding what in the world is really going on, feeling like the people that you love the most has hurt you the most. But nevertheless, that's been the time, come on here, that I didn't have nobody else but God. And I cried out to him in those moments. If I got some people that feels, that they're not a part of the crowd right now, but if you can really look at it and see, that's your most effective service to God. Sometimes they had to go. They had to leave. They had to walk away. They had to walk out. Come on here. Because that's the time I really got close to him. That's the time I really cried out to him. That's the time that I got to know him as a healer. That he'll wipe all of my tears away. Is when I wasn't with the crowd. We're getting closer to the moment that we've all been waiting for. And as your presenter, I want to give you a little bit of background about the role of our starring and leading role player. He was sent to the earth to save mankind. He performed many signs, wonders. He taught, he encouraged, and he corrected. All of the good things that he did. He's still yet, come on here. Is there anybody that knows what it's like to do good things for a good purpose and still be lied on? He was lied on. He was falsely accused. He was rejected. He was beaten. He was scourged. He was humiliated. Come on, is there anybody that can relate to that? I tried to do a good thing. But all I still got out of that was hurt, heartache, pain. I'm for us parents. I'm trying to say the right things. Come on, Bridget. We know about this. I'm telling the right thing, and sometimes they still turn a deaf ear to what I'm saying, as if I'm the enemy. Come on here, Tanya. Can you relate to that? I'm just trying to tell you the right thing. Come on, Corey. Can you relate to that? I'm just trying to tell you the right thing. And I still end up hurt. His flesh is exposed. The main character that I'm talking about, he's bloody. He's beaten. The soldiers, who we did not mention their role, but the soldiers are gambling for his clothes. They placed a crown of thorns on his head, and to make it equivalent to what something that we can relate to, it's basically like somebody giving you a hat with razor blades in it and putting it on your head. They're spitting on him. Come on, we can stop right there, because most of us, we African American, we know what's going to happen if somebody spit on me. It's about to go down. Don't spit on me. It's a couple of things you don't do. You don't spit on me and you don't slap me. You don't spit on me and you don't slap me. Those two things are ultimate signs of disrespect. But yet, our main character, he took all of this. Beaten, hung, stretched high and wide with nails in his hands and his feet, yet he said nothing. Come on here. Now, remember what we said at the beginning of this. We saw the Oscars and most of us could imagine what role we would have played and what we would have done. But just imagine, come on, somebody beating you. And you have the power to stop it. But because, come on here, I need for you to see something about power. Just because you have the power to do something does not mean you have God's permission. Oh, you better come on here. Catch that. Just because you have the power to do something does not mean that you have God's permission to do it. You see, there's a difference between having power and having God's permission. Come on here. Because oftentimes we will pray for power. Come on. Is there anybody that's ever been praying for power? I'm praying for the power of more money. I'm praying for the power of good credit. I'm praying for, the power to do this and to do that. But watch this. There is a difference between having power and having his permission. Because once you have his permission, I guarantee you that is all the power that you will ever need. Come on. And oftentimes we find ourselves praying and seeking for the wrong thing. Come on here. I just need for somebody to type it in the message box. I don't have to have power when I have his permission. Because when you understand his permission, then you will understand that is all the power and the authority that you need. Woo. Well, I need this. No, you need his permission. Well, God, I need this. No, I need his permission. Because the thing about having God's permission is once you have God's permission, you have God's protection. Come on here and type it for me, Bridget. I just need his permission. I just need his permission. And Jesus had this power. But still yet he would not use his power. Because he knew using his power, come on here, would not. Watch this. Because oftentimes what happens is if we are not careful, we will use our power to alleviate our pain, our frustration. Come on, our disappointment. But it does not mean that we are bringing God glory. Woo, come on and catch that. Jesus would not even use his power. How many times have we used power to get something that we want? Only to find out we didn't have God's permission on it. Woo. Only to find out that the power that I use had only put me in a more tumultuous situation, a more complex situation. I've used that power. But now look at the results of me using that power. Come on, I don't need the power when I got his permission. I have a printer in my home. And we were discussing yesterday some things that we were going to make some changes about. I need for you to understand what I'm going to say. And I'm trying to put it in relationship to something that you can understand. We have this printer and we've been paying for phone service. Just so I can have the ability to send faxes. But there is, my printer is called an all-in-one. So my printer can do multiple things to still accomplish the same purpose. Come on. My printer will allow me to, one of the functionalities of my printer is it allows me to scan in documents. And I can convert that document to whatever format that I need to transfer it in. And so therefore, one of the things that we have, come on here, because I need for you to understand what I'm trying to say to you. Whenever you are using your own power, sometimes you end up paying a cost that you never had to pay. But one of the functionalities of my printer is, again, it allows me to scan in documents and I can convert them to whatever format or whatever I need them converted in so I can transfer it via email. So we're having this discussion yesterday, and I basically told my husband, I said, we don't need the phone line anymore. Come on here. We don't need that anymore. Because all I can, what I can do is, there's a way around it. I can scan it in and send it via email, and they will get it just as quick. And it saves paper. Anybody that knows me knows that's a big statement for me because I love paper. I still write letters, all of that. But nevertheless, I was having this conversation with my husband, and the point that I want to make out of that, sometimes when you do things in your own power, you end up paying a cost that you typically did not have to pay. Come on here. But watch this. But because his permission is an all-in-one, his permission not only comes, watch this, with his protection. Y'all got to catch that. His permission not only comes with his protection, but his permission comes with his power. Come on. But watch this. The reason that it's important for us to go after his permission, because not only do I get his permission, but I also get his power versus my own power. Because I know that my power is limited, but his power, come on here, is unrestricted. I just need for somebody to give me a virtual hand wave if you want that kind of power that is unrestricted. It can accomplish anything. And not only does it accomplish anything, come on here, it can come with his protection. How many of us need to be protected? Sometimes we don't need to be protected from our external enemies. Come on here. Sometimes I need to be protected from my internal enemies. The things that and the thoughts that sometimes go through my mind, that's what I need protection from. Come on. But here we have the star of the crucifixion. He died and he went through all of that torment, that trauma, that pain. He had the power to come down, but yet he wouldn't even use it. He died for our sins, taking them as his own. But watch this. He died for our sins. But I need for you to know, he got up for your evidence. Come on here. He got up for your evidence to prove that you did not have to live a life bound and controlled by sin. Him getting up told me, and it proved to me that nothing that I'm facing, nothing that I'm going through is strong enough to keep me down. I just need for somebody to type it in the message box. I'm going to get up from this. I'm going to get up from this. Because he got up, I'm going to get up from this. Whatever your this is, I'm getting up from this. Whatever place you found yourself in, I'm getting up from this. Whatever hurt, heartache, pain, frustration, and disappointment that you have experienced, I'm getting up from this. The things that's been going through your mind, I'm getting up from this. Because he got up, I'm getting up from this. I just need for you to declare it in your space, wherever you're at. I'm getting up from this. I'm getting up from this. You meant it for one thing, but I'm getting up for this. You meant it to make me bitter, but I'm getting up from this. I'm getting up from this. And as we get ready to move towards closing, and by unanimous decision, he's not just been made the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, Savior of the world, who bore our sins, confirming that we are not bound to a life of sin. And you might be like, well, Miss Presenter, where's the award? I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to the award that we're going to give you. Because how many of us know he deserves an award? If you can agree for what he did on the cross for you. Come on, he died for your sins. But then he got up for your evidence. Come on. I'm going to ask LaShawn, she's one of our social media lists, to put that on her socials today. He died for my sins, but he got up for my evidence. And for that, he deserves an award. And there's no other actor, there's no other character that I'm talking about other than Jesus. Come on here. It's Jesus that is getting this award. And you might be like, Presenter, where's the award? Where's the award? I don't see an award. Because most of the time, come on here, and I'm going to use one of my son's awards right here. And Antonio's going to hand me one of my oldest boy's award. And I'm just going to use it because it's just close by in my office. And I'm going to try to handle this real carefully. But this is an award that was, yeah, I'm going to put it down because it's a little heavy. But this is an award that was given to one of my oldest son. He earned this award. And most of the time we look for things like this to show, someone's excellent achievement. And you might be like, well, Miss Presenter, please take this, son, before I break it and put it back for me, because I don't want to be in trouble. But nevertheless, oftentimes we're looking for awards like that. We're looking for things like that in order to show, watch this, how excellent someone's service or performance has been. But how many of you know that God said, I'm not looking for, can you let her in real quick? He said, I'm not looking for a trophy. Come on. I'm not looking for a trophy. I'm not looking for you to give me an Oscar. I'm not looking for you to give me an Oscar. I'm not looking for you to give me a trophy. He said, if you want to show me how excellent what I did for you was, he said, I want to give you something. I want to give you something. I want to give you something. I want to be able to, ain't that something? Watch this. We're here to present him with an award of excellence. But in the process of that, he said, I want to give you something. And this is what I heard God saying as I was getting this message together and as we get ready to close, because we're over our time. But he said, I want to give you, watch this, the award, because every actor that gets the Oscar for best performer of the year, but God is just not the best performer of the year. Come on here. He's the best performer of a lifetime. But with every award that's given, he said, watch this, it's important for you got to catch this, because watch this, every every award and every award recipient, they will oftentimes honor, come on here, their supporting cast. Y'all gotta catch this. They honor their supporting cast. I know when my son would play, when he played football, on whatever level, regardless of what kind of accolades he was getting, come on here, what he would oftentimes say is that, it's the guys around me. Come on here. It's the guys around me that make me look good. And this is what Jesus was actually telling me to share with you today. He said, I want to give you something. I know you came to celebrate me and what I did. He said, but also in this Oscar award, he said, every star actor, they have to acknowledge, come on here. He said, if they are really of character and integrity, he said, they acknowledge their supporting cast. Come on here. I just need to know, is there anybody that's up under the sound of my voice that says, I'm God's supporting cast? I'm going to exemplify the reason that he died. Come on here. I'm going to exemplify the reason that he got up. So without further ado, he wanted me to present you with an award, because watch this. How many of you said, well, where's the trophy we going to give him? He said, I ain't looking for a trophy. He said, I'm looking for your life. Come on here. He said, I'm looking for your life. He said, because your life is the best trophy that you can give me. He said, as you give me your life, as you give me the things that I've asked you for, he said, I want to present you with something. Come on. He said, because what you did was, watch this. He said, by you giving me your life, he said, what you did was, you said, I refuse to play the role of Judas. Come on here. I refuse to play the role of the religious leaders. I refuse to play the role of Pilate. I refuse to play the role of the soldiers or the crowd. I ain't playing none of them roles. I ain't playing none of them. So you can cancel, watch this, you can cancel the reboot to this sequel. If I got to play any of them roles. Is there anybody that says if I got to play any of those roles, they can cancel this show? You can cancel it. There won't be no reboot to this. And for those of you who made up in your mind that the best trophy, because you got to understand what Jesus is saying. He said, I don't need a trophy. I don't need crystal. I don't need plastic. I don't need, whatever they make them out of now. He said, I don't need that. He said, but if you give me your life, I want to present you with something. I want to present you, for those of you who've made up in your mind, that I'm going to give him the best that I got. I'm going to be, watch this, I'm going to be his support. I'm going to be his best. Because, at every Oscar, they not only give the best actor award, but they give the best supporting, the supporting actor role. And God, that's what I want to give you today. I want to present you with the award for best supporting actor. You are the example of why I died. Come on here. You just don't choose Easter morning on a calendar, on a physical calendar day. But you choose every day of your life to live for me. He said, I want to present you with the award of best supporting actor or actress. I can count on you to not be a part of the crowd. Come on. I can count on you to hang in there when it looks like all hope is lost. I can count on you to follow my word, even if you don't get what you want. Come on here. Is there anybody that says, I've been following his word, even though I ain't got what I wanted? Whew. He said, it's you. It's you I want to celebrate today. It's you I want to celebrate today. It's you I want to celebrate. your power. You didn't use your power to do the things you wanted to do. So for that, best supporting. You didn't get what you wanted out of it, but you stayed in my word. Best supporting. With tears rolling down your face, wondering when is this going to be over? How much longer, God? But you stayed the course. Best supporting. Not wanting to go to church, not wanting to be a part of nobody in the church no more. Because I'm hurting that bad. But you stayed. Best supporting. You played your role. You're playing your role. Despite the opposition. Despite what you're going through. Despite what you're feeling. Best supporting. And as your presenter of that award, we're going to end this now because you have your award. Your mind is made up. For God I live. For God I die. I don't have to be a part of the crowd. I don't have to have the power when I have his permission. For that, I would like to present to each and every one of you, best, on behalf of God. You know, they say the Academy of Arts and Science, but on behalf of Christ our Savior, the one who died for us, I present you with the award of best supporting